everyone, Dominic here, bringing another 9th Age Battle Report. So for this game, we've got Orcs and Goblins Alpha 4 versus the Infernal Dwarves. We played Counterthrust as a deployment, and the secondary objective was King of the Hill. If you're interested in my list, I will put it in the description below. And for spell selection, Orcs and Goblins, we took Raven's Wing, Twisted Effigy, Will-o'-the-Wisp, Deceptive Glamour, and then I took the Hereditary spell and Awaken the Beast on my Adept. For Infernal Dwarves, he took his Hereditary, Breath of Corruption, Pentagram of Pain, Grave Calls, and then he has an Adept with Twisted Effigy and Deceptive Glamour as well. Let's get started into deployment. So for Orcs and Goblins, on the far corner here, we've got a Pump Wagon, we've got Veteran Orcs with paired weapons, a Git Launcher, Giant, Goblins with Spears, Goblin Raiders, we've got Iron Orcs, the General Warlord, we've got more Veteran Orcs, which are Ed Bashers, so that's the BSB. We have a Guardian Behemoth, we have Goblins with Bows. In that unit I do have, as you can see here, my Wizard Master, and then we have a Pump Wagon on the other side of the flank here as well. I think in this game I've got my Adept was in, I want to say he was in the paired weapon orcs. Yeah. For Infernal Dwarves, as much as I can remember, so he's got the Train, and I think it had the Rock Crusher upgrade, so the extra grinds and impact hits. He's got some Slaves, he's got some Disciples of Luger, he's got some Vassal Levies, I believe is what the thousands are, with the Vassal Conjurer. He has the Rocket Battery in the back there. On this one, he has a Naphtha Thrower. He's got the Truck Anointed, and he's got a Prophet on a Great Bull. That's his general. He's got some Vassal Fast Cav. And these two units here, I don't remember what their names are. I know that these guys had pistols, and I want to say that these guys had flintlock axes, maybe? Or maybe they were blunderbuss, or maybe they were hand whip and shield. But either way, he's also got his BSB here in this corner as well. For the secondary objective, he chose this field up here, and I took this water feature over here. I did, after a few, end up dropping for the first turn, and then we've got a little bit of a vanguard. So you see I put out those guys, reform them into space, and I think he moved them, his vassals, ever so slightly forward. But that's what the table looks like as we're going to start into turn 1 for Orc and Goblins. So on this side, I kind of move up. I use the Spider Riders to block a direct charge into the paired weapon orcs. So he's got a flank on those goblins, and then we'll kind of go into the middle of the line was my hope. Everything else I do move up, but fairly tentatively. I think I've got a little bit of time here to push him off the objective and not go too crazy. Into magic, we managed to get Twisted Effigy off on the Rocket Battery, and we also did Will-o'-the-Wisp. I believe we tried to do on, I think this was on these guys up here, and again, I don't remember what those ones were armed with or what they are, but Will-o'-the-Wisp goes on that unit for just the 2d6 random move. That was pretty much it for magic. Into shooting, we managed to do with Bowfire, we managed to kill 3 of those Vassal Cavalry up here. They didn't panic, and I'm pretty sure that was about it. So that's what the table looks like. We're going to start turn 1 for Infernal Dwarves. Yeah, there's that picture shooting. So over here, turn 1 for Infernal Dwarves. So he starts with a declared charge from his train into those goblins, and I failed the terror check. They ran through the paired weapon orcs. The paired weapon orcs failed their panic check, even minimized with I don't think I had a reroll on that, and I was unfortunate. I was just slightly out of generalship range, so but still failed it. They ran. He redirected his charge into the giant, and the disciples also declared a charge into the giant. Luckily for me, he failed both of those charges. The slaves march up, take a few wounds. The vassal cavalry over here, they ran past the arc of sight of these goblins. He wasn't entirely sure what to do with them with only 2 guys left, trying to save them for later. Somewhere these guys actually backed up, I think, and the random move roll was a 2. So he really didn't move very far, and that's kind of what happened there for movement. Into the magic phase, I believe he got Twisted Effigy on the goblins with bows just so that they can't shoot, and I think that was about it. He used Raven's Wing, or not Raven's Wing, he used the hereditary, or the attribute, sorry, on these Iron Orcs because I had pumped them up with my previous magic, so lowering their charge range again. But other than that, that's pretty much it. The shooting, he had Twisted Effigy on the one, the other one was too far to really do anything of substance, and I think the pistols were for too far, and that was pretty much it. Other than maybe some bow shots, but didn't manage to do anything. So that's what the table looks like. We're already going to start turn 2 for Orcs and Goblins. So on turn 2, I do declare the war cry. And actually, one thing I'm just remembering right now, on his turn 1, I did put out a netter. I didn't mention it in the last game, but they actually did play a part in this game, so I'll try and remember when I pulled them out. So I had put a netter in here. We declare a long charge needing 11 into these pistols. We declare... I'm just trying to see here why these guys are already missing. Yep. So we declare this long charge into these pistols. Basically, those guys get out of the way. There is the Guardian Behemoth right behind him. I'm going to see if I can go back in this picture. So the Guardian Behemoth is right here. He declares a charge into the flank of these guys. They fail their terror check and go off the table. And then, because these guys can go over there, I decide it's a long bomb charge. I declare this charge over here, and he fails his rerollable panic check on these guys as well and flees off the table with his BSB's unit. And that just clears up that entire side of the table. I also declare a charge with the giant into the slaves. They pass their check and stick around. The spears go into the Lugars, and the Iron Orcs go into the Lugars as well. Other than that, both of my other 2 units rally. So both of the Spider Riders and the Paired Weapon Orcs. I shift the rest of my lines. I start moving those 2 pump wagons back towards his lines now that there's a little bit of stuff cleared out. And that was it for movement. Into magic phase, we did Deceptive Glamour, just the small version on those Lugars. And I think that was about it. Actually, you know what? I think I've got written down here that I've cast Awaken the Beast, but I don't possibly see where I could have put that out. It must have been on the Iron Orcs, though. Into shooting, I managed to kill a couple of the... I want to say it was the pistol guys here. Yeah, I shot these bows at the pistol guys, managed to kill a couple pistol guys, but that was about it. I think on this turn, the Git launcher misfired and can't shoot for the rest of the game, as far as I remember. Which, funnily enough, I think this is the 5th or 6th game. I think this is the 5th game under the new rules, and out of all of these games that I've played so far, that is the 4th time the thing has misfired and couldn't shoot for the rest of the game. Just bad luck, I guess. Anyway, we go into combat. So the giant kind of whiffs. He doesn't kill that many of those orcs. They stick around, though, and continue to fight. In the center, the Lugars, they take some punishment, but they deal way more back with me being, I got a flammable token on there from the oil skins before, and he beats me down quite handily. Like I said, I think I had Awaken the Beast on myself and Deceptive on him, so I was striking with paired weapons before he was hitting better and wounding better, but he still has just a pile of guys there. But other than that, that's kind of how the table is looking as we're going to start turn 2 for Infernal Dwarves. Now, on Infernal Dwarves turn 2, I do pop out that second netter. I put it in this corner here so that he's touching the Lugars. He declares a charge into the flank of the Iron Orcs with the train. He goes in the front with the Turk Anointed, and the Great Bull Wizard Master goes in as well. Everybody makes those charges, and that's pretty much it. I don't really have another picture of his movement. He didn't really do too terribly much. I think his pistol guys just stood in place and shot. Into the magic phase, he managed to cast the hereditary spell boosted, I want to say, on my general, just to dissuade him from coming in the next round. And that was it for magic. Shooting, he managed to get another oil skin out on, and I want to say that went out on my general as well. So my general is now flammable as well. He's got 2 tokens additionally, so he's all kinds of debuffed nonsense from the Infernal Dwarves. Other than that, we go into combat. He does manage with the impacts and grinds. He does wipe out the Iron Orcs. I do a bunch of wounds to him, but the Goblins manage to pass their break check, and then the train doesn't overrun into the Goblins. After that, we fight the one here with the Giant. The Giant breaks them this time. I did test to restrain my pursuit, actually, just because I wanted to kind of go into that train and use a great weapon from the General or one of the Orc champions, I suppose. But he fails that check and runs the slaves down. So that's kind of where we're at as we're going to start turn 3 for Orc and Goblins. So on turn 3, we charge that Giant into the flank of the Vassal Levies. They pass their terror. I make that in. I don't think I did any other charges. Nope, I'm stand corrected. Those pistol guys that were on the flank over here, they fled from a charge from the Guardian Behemoth, but he still managed to make that charge in and killed him. As you can see, those pump wagons start moving towards the center of the field, and right away this one is actually going to come into play. But other than that, I just continue to move the Orcs towards the center. I didn't go with that General just because he was debuffed pretty hard with all of the oil skins and hereditary spells and whatnot. So I use the Spider Riders as some chaff for the train, the Lugars, and those remaining anointed. Into magic, we managed to get Twisted Effigy on that rocket battery. I think I managed to do it every turn so far. I know for sure turn 1 and possibly turn 2, but yeah, managed to do that. That was pretty much it for magic, though. We go into that combat. He does wipe out every single one of the rank and file goblins. I think I did a little bit of chip damage to him. The netter broke from combat, though. He got away, fled through my general here. Nobody panicked, and all 3 of these made it in to the Spider Riders. Over here, again, I kind of whiff. I don't kill that many guys. He passes a stubborn check or a steadfast check, and he's going to stay there. He did try to reform, but he failed the reform check, and so that's why he turned his general around to help out that unit. But other than that, that's what the table is looking like as we're going to go into turn 3 for Infernal Dwarves. So, into turn 3, he I'll just back up here. He charges into the giant. He does manage to kill the giant in that turn. I do a bunch more damage to these guys. I think I did a bunch more damage to those guys. I don't actually, I probably didn't, because of, I think he just managed to kill me outright with that giant, or with the great bull. But either way, he kills the giant, does a reform on the spot, and he kills the spider riders, no problem. He elects to hold, I think, with the Lugars and the anointed, but he does do the overrun with the train, and it makes it into my general. So that's what the table looks like as we're going to start turn 4 for Orcs and Goblins. On turn 4, I have the Guardian Behemoth. He declares a charge into the Naphtha Thrower. That's going to make it. We also declare a charge from the Paired Weapon Orcs into the Disciples of Lugar here. They make that. And then we also get this Pump Wagon into the flank of the other one. Now, I see my other Pump Wagon is gone. I think he got rid of that in the magic phase, in his magic phase. But other than that, that's what the table looks like. So I do make this charge, I do make this one, and I make this one. This netter rallies, which is important. And we managed to get Awaken the Beast for +1 resilience, I think I went with, onto this the general here. And then I think we also got Deceptive Glamour on his Disciples of Lugar as well. We go into combat. Now, this was kind of a funny moment. I did this one first. The Scrap Wagon did the last remaining 5 wounds onto those Turok Anointed, wiping them out and overrunning into the flank of the Disciples. Rolled pretty good on those impact hits. Managed to wipe out quite a few Disciples before they got to swing, leaving my Orcs wiping out quite a few. I think I left him with 4 guys, and even with those 4 guys, he still killed, like, it looks like 4. I think he maybe only had 3 guys left, and he still killed 4 of my guys. But he broke from combat. I ran him down. I did try and hold this one here, so I just went with the random mover, but the random mover was clutch here because not only did he catch those Lugars, but he also ran into the flank of the Great Bull, pinning him in place for the following turn for Infernal Dwarves. Over here in this one, he did a wound to me, and I did a wound to him. I passed my break check. And then, of course, the Guardian Behemoth wipes out the Naphtha Thrower, no problem, and he makes his overrun into the flank of his vassals. So that's what the table looks like. Is we're going to go turn, I believe turn 5 now for Infernal Dwarves. Turn 5 for Infernal Dwarves is pretty much this same picture. He kills the Pump Wagon. He does that one first. He completely does nothing to the general here. That's a pillow fight. I'm doing nothing to him. He's doing nothing to me. In here, I do wipe out the vassals, and I do the overrun into his general. And I think that was pretty much it, as we were getting pretty close to the end of time here for this one. So the last few turns kind of sped along pretty quick. Turn 6 for Orcs and Goblins. I put these guys into the flank. I put the netter in there as well for -1 AP, just because he did. I'm remembering now, and I can see it. He managed to get another 2 wounds onto my Lord last combat. So I'm down to 1. We have 2 more rounds to quickly fight. Like I said, we're running out of time. So we do that. We fight this battle. He doesn't manage in my turn 6 and his turn 6. He doesn't manage to kill this guy. I don't manage to to tear him apart at all. I think by the end of this, I had only done 3 wounds total to that train. Over here, though, I do kill his general with impact hits on the attacks. I think it was actually impact hits. I think I rolled 6 impact hits and did 5 wounds, none of which were saved. Yeah, so all of the attacks, I think I'm kind of remembering that the goblins on the top, those 8 goblins with lances AP2, I think finished off the last wound on the Great Bull, which is kind of a funny moment. But after that, he goes in, destroys the rocket battery. Like I said, this one on turn 6 is, he doesn't kill me, so doesn't get those points. That's kind of where that game ended. Did up the points at the end with Orcs winning the secondary. Managed to get a 19-1 victory for Orc and Goblins. It was a really fun game. He had a really bad luck, like I said, with that panic check with his BSB on turn 2 to run off the table, and then as well as some other failed charges that were kind of closer that they should have made it in, but didn't. I think back to turn 1 with the train on the hill going into the giant with his redirect. He needed like an 8 with a reroll and still failed it. So like I said, there was some unfortunate moments there, but other than that, it was a really fun game. I did manage to play one more game after this, but I was kind of getting a little bit tired as I haven't done any battle reports for quite some time of taking pictures. So I didn't actually take any pictures of that. Quick overview, we played against, what was it, Warriors of the Dark Gods Pride kind of list. The game went, it was, I want to say it was in circle with hold the ground was the secondary objective. Long and short, the Orcs held fast towards the center, and we wrapped all of the flank charges around the Warriors, wiping them out by the end of turn 6, so that there was only a wizard flying around on a disc, resulting in a 20-0 victory for Orc and Goblins. So, guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed these videos. I hope to get to do a little bit more of them and get the flow a little bit better. But for now, that's all for this one.